If there is no further admin, I guess we start, right? Ready to go? Hello and welcome to Shut Up and Answer the Question, the show where we take a really bloody long time to answer questions that are sent in from the audience at home. It's mental. It's crazy. I'm Ethan Lawrence.
And I'm Sean Antony.
I went for a sort of manic one there. Did you notice that?
Oh, no, that was just your normal sort of energy, I thought.
Really? I kicked off that energy? I thought I was putting something on. Oh dear, I need to reassess.
If anything, you're a little bit more constrained.
Wow. Okay, right. Well, I'm really self-conscious now, which is great because we're on a Zoom and we have a guest.
Yes.
Who's just
nothing better than to be self-conscious with a guest. Absolutely.
But I'm questioning everything. Is my energy wrong? Sean.
It's a perfect energy, you know this, bud.
This is our third pod in as many days.
This
Can
is
you imagine
bonkers.
that?
Yeah. How are we not tired of each other?
How are we not? Well, actually, you're going to Dublin, aren't you?
Yes.
He's getting away from me.
Yep, running as fast as I can.
fleeing to the homeland. Well, without further ado, we should introduce our guest because he's sat there ever so politely.
Yes. Yes.
I've written a long intro again. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Big breath.
Guests love this. They love it and they have their career read back to them. So, our guest is a comedian and ventriloquist who from an early age has been wowing audiences up and down the country. He burst onto our television screens on ITV's Game of Talents, a much missed show, largely by me, and has subsequently plied his trade on Unforgivable and Crackerjack, a regular on the stand-up circuit and in Panto. He has amassed an enormous online following and, God bless him, he's agreed to come on an audio medium that completely undercuts his primary skill. Please welcome Max Fulham!
Yay!
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me. That's lovely.
Hey, not a problem. So how do you feel about being on an audio medium when primarily you're a visual artist?
I feel like I am following in the footsteps of the ventriloquists that have gone before me, such as Peter Brough, who famously did ventriloquism on the radio way back in the 19 something or others.
Wow. That's
amazing.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Why? Why?
Because of the challenge.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
People thought it couldn't be done, and he did it.
Yeah, and then by the time he got to TV, his lips had started moving, so sort of defeated the point.
Is that an occupational hazard? Is that something that happens over time?
It's just a theory. I haven't done the full PhD yet, but I think the old ventriloquist lips, I think they might get a bit bloody loose.
Wow. I mean, that's worrying, isn't it?
I'm trying to get all the work in I can in these years whilst I've still got those young lips.
Supple, live lips.
Yeah, good. Well,
retire at 40. That's it. Made all the ventriloquist money. I mean, I gotta say, like, I first became aware of you on Game of Talents, and was frankly, I mean,
was it that you first saw me on?
It really was, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I thought I wasn't a big fan of ventriloquism.
Me too.
Until I saw you, and I was like, oh, it's actually really sick.
No, thank you. I mean, it's weird how often I hear that, actually. I'll get people coming up to me after shows, and it's odd to start a compliment with this, but they'll say, oh, I hate ventriloquism.
That's why I buried my thing in the middle.
Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, thank you for your honesty.
And then you get the but I liked you, and I haven't yet plucked up the courage to inform them that they might in fact like ventriloquism.
Well, I wonder if it's just because there's like for me at least, I don't know, you'll probably know more than this, you can correct me, but it feels like there's a sort of gap in the timeline of ventriloquism where you have, you know, old dudes with creepy puppets, and then there's a gap, and then there's young thrusting types like yourself, bringing it into the modern day.
Well, yeah, it is a bit like you're dragging and kicking a variety act into the 21st century, but I think there's just a massive preconception about what it is. I think people look back on the sort of summer seasons and old variety shows as being a bit naff, whereas actually there's some really cool stuff, and they all liked it at the time, so why are they complaining now?
Well, yes, quite.
But at the same time, I think it's just bringing it into a place that isn't in sort of... It's the same thing that happened to both comedy in terms of when comedians went from being in suits to jeans and t-shirt comedians. And the same thing happened with sort of magic as well, going from big boxes full of women to like cool card tricks with borrowed objects on the street, like Cool Guys, Dynamo style. Yeah, it's just sort of trying to bring it into the 21st century and beyond, and like looking back on what went before and trying to progress an art form, really. Yeah.
I mean, certainly, because, like, you know, the whole sort of Gottle of Gear thing is sort of it's like a real relic of the past now.
Yeah, it does. But that is people's last cultural reference. It's mad. That's people's last cultural reference. It's either that or Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
Oh yeah, God, I'd not thought about that for, no joke, maybe about 7 years.
Yeah, that one. That was the last kind of proper sort of ventriloquist that I remember being in the zeitgeist as a popular kind of act. But
it was one of the early viral videos.
Yeah, but then I think it's from him. Then you've had like what's her name? She was Darcy Lynn.
Oh yeah,
I think
Darcy
is another
Lynn,
one. Paul Zerdin, I think, more are coming up as well. And
he won America's Got Talent has had 3 ventriloquists win, which is insane.
It's amazing. It's just great to see it coming back as a medium, because it kind of straddles that the physical and the voiceover kind of world in the time, like, because with your job as well, you can't have character bleed, so you have to have that such a sharp line flicking between the two, which is absolutely amazing.
I like that term, character bleed. That's nice. I like that.
So well, take that moving forward. That's Sean loves talking about character bleed.
I do, because it's a big worry for me when I'm doing my when I do my auditions and stuff. Like you don't want things to sort of start coming through from the last one, and then it just sort of muddies the waters, really.
The separation is a massive part of it, especially when you're doing the voices sort of back to back and swapping, for sure.
One of the things that impressed me most was that the literal, like, just the speed that you switch between Max and, say, Grandad.
Yeah, it's like you almost have to get the not moving your lips part absolutely down to the point where you're not thinking about it, because then you need to, on top of that, do the switching between the voices, the puppetry, the acting, which is such a huge part of it that people don't sort of take into account, which is probably a good thing. You don't want them to notice it, really, but I have to act as if I don't know what's coming and I haven't heard it before. And then when you're in a sort of live scenario, the improvisation, and then around that, the sort of comedy writing and stuff. I mean, it's like any creative job. People see the visible bit as the job, whereas it is always the tip of an iceberg. But ventriloquism is essentially just ridiculous multitasking.
Oh, it sounds it. Again, I hadn't actually thought about it in those terms, but now that you have, I'm like, God, I'm a really bad actor. I can barely talk and move at the same time. If you give me a prop, I'm out of ideas. Like, just hold it in front of my face. Camera can't see me. Look, Max, we've been talking, and it's been great, and I want to keep talking, but we've got a question to answer.
I can't wait for the question. What's the question this week?
Well, do you know what, Sean? I was digging through the question archive, because I was like, I need something that's appropriate for Max. But how many questions really are there going to be about ventriloquism or things like that? But I did find one that's related to puppets.
Oh, okay.
Which is about the best I can do. So I hope this is okay. But we will find out over the course of the next 45 minutes whether I've made a good decision, or if we have to abandon this question early and just talk to you just normal. But here we go. This is This question is from Marina Mutino, and it is thus. If Pinocchio says, I'm lying, but his nose doesn't grow, is he telling the truth?
Hold on.
Once again, because there's a lot of clauses in that. If Pinocchio says, I'm lying, but his nose doesn't grow, is he telling the truth?
I think that you have to put the fox goes across first, and you leave the chickens in the seat, and then it's one of.
I can't leave the chickens with the seed. They'll eat the seed.
Can't leave the chickens with the seed. Wow, that's full on, isn't it? If he says I'm lying, but his nose doesn't grow, then is he telling the truth? Then
is it then from the intention? So if it's then from if it's in the intention of the statement, does that then work it out? So if he's then saying it truthfully that he wants it to be a lie, he is then inadvertently telling the truth. Whereas then if he's actually saying it as a, I don't know, sarcasm or something like that, where it is then going to be a lie, then...
Is Pinocchio capable of sarcasm? That's the question.
Oh, yes. Is a little wooden boy capable of sarcasm?
What's your relationship
what turns
with Pinocchio,
him into
Max?
a real boy?
Sorry, what was that question?
Sorry, we both said something at the same time. Sean was talking about real boys, and I asked a dumb question. The dumb question is thus. What's your relationship with Pinocchio?
Terrifying question. I think I might have watched the film about once. I can't say I know him well. And also, he's one of those marionettes with the strings, isn't he? He's one of them.
Yeah.
And I love puppetry in all its forms, but marionettes, my God, that's so much faff. Let's just get in a tangle.
Famously, he did abandon his strings in the hot #1 single, I've Got No Strings to Hold Me Down.
Before nose fucking the floor.
Sean.
Sorry, I had to bring the
I'm just picturing
there.
Pinocchio twerking now, and I'm not enjoying that. That's not a good image to have.
Wow, that's a lot of joints involved in that.
Yeah, and it's very angular. Which is the last thing you want to be when you're twerking.
Pinocchio's angular twerking.
So if it wasn't Pinocchio, where did your thing with puppets begin? Is there sort of like a formative moment where you realized this was your thing, or was it sort of a gradual thing? Is it a family thing even?
That's a good
how hilarious would it be if it was a family thing that
passed down through the generations?
My dad worked in banking, and my mum's actually a puppet. No.
Oh, the implications. Please continue, Max.
I don't have any sort of performing in my family, as a rule. No. Just that's how it's happened. I've just become a little puppet nerd. I think I got a puppet as a kid. I saw a children's entertainer at a birthday party when I was a child with a puppet, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And from then on, I knew that my barometer for what is cool was way off. I continued on that path, and now here I am. That's how it all started for me. So it wasn't Pinocchio. I did used to have some marionettes as a kid, but yeah, those strings get tangled. But luckily, he broke free of those strings.
He did.
So it was Pinocchio.
Wasn't Pinocchio per se. I definitely did have a string puppet, but they were thrown to the side in favour of hand puppets.
It was a live event then? Sorry, you
know what? I'm going to shut up until there is a general. Yeah.
So it was a live event that sort of inspired it. Was it sort of like a pure event, or like a magician or something?
It was a magician who used a puppet in his act. Yeah, it was. That's how it started for me. And then I definitely would have seen Pinocchio at some point, and taken on board its moral message. I preferred Jiminy Cricket as a character, actually.
He's got moral clarity, isn't he?
Yeah, and also, he dressed all nice.
Yes. And he had a bit more of a character as well. I find that with a lot of the sidekicks of the films, like the sidekicks really do have great character. to sort of lighten the mood.
There was
Definitely.
a fish in Pinocchio as well, wasn't there? It's a goldfish.
Yep. And a cat, Figaro.
Figaro.
And a whale? Is there a whale involved?
Yeah, Monstro.
Yes.
Yeah. Pinocchio got eaten by him. That's where he finds Geppetto, because Geppetto also got eaten by a whale. Very Jonah.
That
Wow,
whole
that's-
scene is actually horrific for a child to watch.
None more horrific than the island where they're turning kids into donkeys for smoking and drinking. This is a U certificate film.
Wow.
Pinocchio's fucked, man. Like, it's such a fucked story.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, actually, I can get on board with that. It's completely fucked, yeah.
it's
Well,
crazy.
there was-
like,
that's the whole, like, all of those, like Cinderella, Snow White, the films that they started off with, like the original Grimm fairy tales, are actually really quite disturbed.
Yeah.
I seem to recall, because I looked this up because you'll know about this, Max. I've done a touch of panto back in the day. Just the one. They didn't have me back. Cinderella. I was doing some sort of background research on that. The Ugly Sisters, some bad stuff happens to them in the end.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like hacking at their feet to like try and like chopping bits off to try and fit it in the shoe.
Yeah.
It's grim.
Luckily.
It's grim. That's why they
very-
called it that.
Yes.
That's so good. That's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I don't like.
I think
myself.
we've peaked.
That's it. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you, Max.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
So when did it become like something that you wanted to sort of get on stage and do? Were you a performative kid or?
I was a fairly performative kid, and probably rubbish at the start. But I think ventriloquism probably took a few years to get half decent at. So I'm very lucky that various adults who I subjected my performances to went, "Oh, it's very good," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you." But I mean, it's literally the reason why it's so important to like encourage kids in creativity, because otherwise they're just going to stop before they get the chance to carry on. And yeah, I just sort of performed whenever I could at sort of school assemblies, all that sort of stuff. And then I was doing kids' parties by the time I was about 14.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, that's sort of been my route into it, and then ended up going full time at 18. Yeah.
So, did you start off with like a just like one of your dolls behind you, or was it did you sort of start off with a smaller puppet and then just change as you got better, if that not better, but sort of more confident with how to move them?
Better is definitely the right word. I think I started off with like toy puppets and stuff. I've got some behind me if you're an audio listener. These are sort of old collector ones that I've got. These are like really old, slightly terrifying ones.
The one that you've got on your right, the taller one with the red suit. He looks like he's actually terrifying, but at the same time quite magnificent.
Yeah, do you want to see something really awful? I had a new little one arrived. Literally yesterday.
Oh heavens! Right, Sean, make a note. This is going to be where the clip is.
It's a genuine old ventriloquist dummy that's seen better days. And audio listeners, I'm so sorry you don't get to witness this, but hopefully a reaction will occur from.
Oh my word!
That's the back of the head that you're getting the
This
reaction.
already looks sandy.
It looks similar to the back of my head.
Oh no! I'm out. I'm out.
Oh, it's the eyes. It's the
Oh,
eyes.
that's rough.
Oh, I think our reaction has actually just taken this Max's screen away on the recording.
We're about to kick Max from the Zoom. Oh, that's not.
I might do the rest of the recording as my head is just this.
Oh, mate.
Yeah,
It's going to be great for the audio. The little clack of the mouth.
Oh.
So
That's
for
still
audio
quite
listeners, I mean, we will put this on our Instagram and on our TikTok. That's Shut Up and Answer Pod on Instagram and Shut Up Pod on TikTok. I mean, how best to describe long face, bulbous cheeks?
That's his name. How do you know him? Long-faced bulbous cheeks. You know long-faced bulbous cheeks.
It's the sequel for Daddy Longlegs.
Can bugs get sequels?
And that question will be answered next week.
I'm writing it down. That's good, actually.
Can bugs have sequels?
So the your fella just behind you with the red hair, is that the one I saw on TikTok just the other day that you sent it off to America to be refurbished? Is that the one?
I had him restored. He was in pretty bad. He was in a pretty bad shape. He'd seen better days, and I just think that the old ones are so cool. And also, the challenge was I wanted him to perform again and to actually take one of these old figures back on stage. So I sent him off to my friend Austin Phillips in America, who is an expert at these things. And
shout out to Austin, please don't sue us.
Has a new body, and he actually performed on stage again, which is quite cool.
He's had the chance to perform.
He has had the chance to perform, and
that's so wonderful.
It was for a cabaret at Halloween, so I played up the fact that some people might find him a little bit creepy, and I had I put a miniature smoke machine in the suitcase, so as I opened the case, smoke billowed out as he sort of emerged from the case, which was quite fun and got a nice reaction. But people have such like visceral reactions to puppets, whether it's like, oh my goodness, the cuteness of Sesame Street, or the freakiness of that. And I genuinely think it's the reason why, linking back, Pinocchio is so like charming. I think people like him because I think people have connections to puppets.
I think so. There's that theory, isn't there? The uncanny valley. Are you aware of this, Sean?
Yes.
Yeah. Where I suppose because they are the manipulatable element of them that sort of makes them seem like they're alive when you have a talented puppet master. They do. I mean, if I held one of them, they'd be like, "Oh, what is that dead man hanging there?" But like because they sort of do mimic human movement when you have someone skilled behind it, and also sound as well. I guess there's sort of that element where it's, especially ones like that, where they're sort of almost clownish in a way. That there is that sort of feeling where it's like, that's actually a bit uncanny, and I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think part of the reason we find them creepy is because these puppets were never meant to be seen close up. They are painted with makeup to be seen from like the royal circle of a theatre. That's why their faces are so exaggerated, is because it was never meant to be seen close up. It was meant to read really, really well. So I think that's another reason why up close, and since sort of photography and since films started using them, that's why they've become creepy.
As you said, like with like close-up magic becoming more of a thing, that's ventriloquism has got to go into that sort of similar kind of road, I suppose. Completely.
Because like with Grandad, who's, I think, if people are familiar with you, they'll be very familiar with Grandad. He's very soft and approachable as a design.
Yeah,
which again works great for your more close-up stuff, like your Instagram, like your TikToks, and in smaller theatres, I suppose. But yeah, Grandad he's very. He feels so real to me. Like, do you know what I mean?
It is ridiculous. He does definitely come to life, and it's amazing how quickly even like a rowdy comedy club audience will suspend their disbelief and sort of get on board with it. We're all sort of able to immediately get on board with a puppet, and he's that sort of slightly more. I mean, it's all pioneered by Henson, really. Jim Henson sort of paved the way, and that sort of Muppet style is much more common nowadays. Sort of slightly more Muppety, cartoony, with the sort of white eyes with a pupil. It's a lovely character, and it's lovely that people can relate to it. And I think puppets can get away with stuff which is great. I remain innocent at all times, and the puppet can take it further. And linking back, I think Pinocchio can get away with a lot of his life because he's a puppet as well. Actually,
you're so good at linking back, so thank you for that. Because normally it's like wrangling cats between us.
No, you're very welcome. I just hope that we can really provide a strong answer for this pressing matter.
That's such a shame, because I am refusing to engage with you bringing it back to the question, because I just want to ask you more about yourself. This is why I'm such a good host. I'm not. Oh, this is shit and awful. You mentioned that you could get, like, even rowdier crowds can suspend their disbelief and get on board with it. Have you ever had times where it has? I know that's such a trite Oh, have you ever had a bad gig question? But like, I imagine less so with stand up and more so with ventriloquism. It feels like you're walking a far higher tightrope because if the suspension of disbelief isn't there, you're fucked. There's nothing really you can do to bring it
Yeah.
back.
It's a really good question, because I think I do that. I definitely am faced with when I walk on with a bag. There's an immediate in the room reaction. You feel a whole crowd sort of start munching on the seats with their own anuses. Like it's just like you just feel this thing happen in the room.
It's like someone walking on with a guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to.
The whole crowd are like, "Oh God, he's not."
Exactly.
Oh fucking hell, no!
I mean, but we experience the same thing in green rooms with sort of occasionally you get it with other comedians as well. Is that there's that thing around prop comedians and musical comedians. So I walk on with a case and I have to sort of reassure them that I'm not a magician. And then once I've done that, we can get the puppets out and have a good time. And actually, the puppets are fairly useful with the rowdy crowds. Like they can go a lot harder than I can go.
I was going to say they must be really good if you've got, for instance, like a heckler or something that you could really unleash through the puppet.
Yeah, because there's always an element of the absurd to it, and a heckler, even if you're in a really difficult situation, when it boils down to it, you have the final trump card, which is the heckler is talking to your hand. You've got the final card that you've always got in your back pocket ready to play is you're talking to something that isn't real.
You're arguing with a puppet.
And
who's
saying
the
it
real
in that
loser
same,
here?
saying it in that same tone as well. Oh, mate, you're talking to something that's not real.
Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you.
Then they throw a brick at your head. But aim it at the puppet. So
Yeah, fine, he's foam. It's all good.
Granddad gets decapitated. Max flees to the car park.
So,
God bless you.
Forgive me if this is a bit of a silly question, but like with Grandad, did you get Grandad made sort of like to your exact requirements, or is he like was he inherited, or do you have any others that you've got at the same time?
Yeah, so initially I bought Grandad off the shelf. He's sort of a professional. He's handmade. There's a brilliant puppet maker in the Philippines who made him. And then subsequently, when that puppet, because they do have a sort of shelf life, especially if they're working. Oh, wow. I went back to that puppet maker and I said, "Can you do a custom job of creating a new one for me?" And then all my other puppet characters. Custom jobs, various different puppet makers around the world. It's great fun. I mean, as a sort of puppet nerd at heart, I think that's part of the fun of it, is going, oh, I might work with this person this time, or I think they'd be best for the job because they do this really well. And it's a fun little process having a puppet made. It feels like Christmas, which is
I bet. Especially if you go from your design to actually having, when you've got it like received, it must feel just absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could draw, because then I'd be able to. I mean, my bank account is very grateful that I can't draw, because I'd just be getting puppets made at a rate of knots. But I also wish I wish I had like the dedication to learn to make them, the patience, the materials, and get all that in and learn to make them. And linking back, that's a bit like Geppetto in a way. In this
Max, stop it! I have another question.
Shut up! Stop answering the question.
There's a new podcast we've come up with. I suppose I didn't realise how sort of international the puppet community is, because I mean, in the space of like two anecdotes, you've mentioned America, you mentioned the Philippines.
Yeah,
and I suppose in my head, like it was not a British thing, but maybe sort of like a Western European thing, broadly.
It's really, I think there is a rich history. I mean, we have such a rich history, music hall, variety entertainment. Britain really has a sort of a real history of that. America had vaudeville, and they had a similar sort of ventriloquism scene coming through. They also had a ventriloquist on the radio with Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, so they were very much paralleling with us. I think it's interesting. Ventriloquism has different cultural differences around the world. It has it's, there's ventriloquism in Japan, which has a rich history of other types of puppetry, and so ventriloquism is approached in a slightly different way. I know an Indian ventriloquist as well, and she's absolutely incredible, but again, the style is slightly different. It seems a lot more the different skills that she can achieve with her voice are insane, and that seems to be put to the fore rather than it being my approach, which is it is a vehicle just for comedy, whereas the ventriloquism is very much pushed to the fore there. Yes, it's all around the world, and I was lucky enough, I've been twice now to and this is a real thing, the International Ventriloquist Convention.
That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah, I think it sounds fun, and it is. It's great fun. A couple of hundred ventriloquists all in a hotel in Kentucky.
In Kentucky, lovely. I mean, it's better than going to sort of like a licensing conveyancers conference.
It's definitely better than that. Yeah, it's definitely. I haven't been to one of those, but I can categorically say it's better than that. And there's people selling their puppets there. There's performances, and it is a great time. It's good fun. It's very, very interesting, and you're right. It is global.
Do you find that at that convention, especially, that you're picking up stuff from other ventriloquists that you sort of bolt onto your act, or do you feel like you're ploughing your own furrow?
There's a lot of sort of workshops and stuff, and I think people take there's maybe like a writing workshop or whatever, and people will go. But I think because I've been full time for a while now, I'm not necessarily looking for ready-made stuff to add. I might buy a puppet there because, again, I'm a puppet nerd at heart, but it's definitely a case of I'm going there for the social aspect, the passion. It sort of reignites the passion in it for me, and also the history, because it's nearby the Vent Haven Museum, which contains a lot of old ventriloquist dummies, and the things they have there are amazing, and that's wonderful to visit. It's wonderful to be able to visit that. It's really cool. They have lots of old puppets. No marionettes like Pinocchio. Linking back. No,
it's lucky that Pinocchio wasn't a ventriloquist dummy then, because then would that then change how it would be if he was lying?
My goodness, what a question!
Because then you're bringing in a separate element, aren't you? Now let's say it's Geppetto manipulating Pinocchio. Yeah. Is Pinocchio lying or is Geppetto lying?
Yeah, and actually, it's important to speak your truth.
I think so too.
No,
I really do think that.
Yeah, I don't mind being quoted there. I just think it's quite important. But yeah, if
I'll clip that for you. Yeah,
thank you so much.
That's a 3-second clip that we just put up. It's just Max being profound.
Yeah, put in a nice font. That was the famous line from Pinocchio, was it not? Where he goes, "It's important to speak your truth." Is that what he sounds like? I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Unfortunately, there's no way to check, so we're just going to have to take your word for it.
If only there was some sort of online streaming service that just showed like old Disney films.
Yeah, well, until such thing exists, we're just going to have to leave that one there. Max, what's your relationship with lying?
Oh, that's a good question, and linked incredibly well. My relationship with lying. I won't lie. I've done it. I've done it. I have done it. I have done it before.
What's your biggest lie?
Oh my God, what's my biggest lie? I wish I...
You say you wish you prepared. I didn't know I was going to ask this.
So I didn't know you were going to ask the question originally, Ethan.
Yeah, I nothing is planned.
Do either of you have a really good lie?
I have a thing that I like to do. I like sort of using it as a prank, like lying for fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So for example, if I'm with someone and I'm walking past, say, a graveyard, I will say, "Did you know that Sherlock Holmes is buried there?" 9 times out of 10, they'll believe you.
But then, is that a lie or a joke?
That's a lie.
So,
aren't all jokes lies in a way, because there's sort of a bend of reality?
So if you're an actor, are you a professional liar?
Oh yeah, I'm full bore a professional liar. I lie for a living.
Wow.
I pretend to be someone I'm not all the time, and they say you shouldn't do that.
But then Pinocchio is essentially being someone he's not, and so therefore, if he's lying or is he acting?
Because he's not supposed to be a real boy, so you're saying that Pinocchio's inauthentic.
Yeah, until he speaks his truth.
Pinocchio's gaslighting us. And how's that fair to have?
Did Pinocchio turn into a donkey?
He didn't. He observed
Because
all the
he's-
others, real
Because
boys,
he was
turning
wooden
into donkeys.
anyway, so he couldn't really, unless he turns into a rocking horse.
Or that thing what they used to invade Troy.
Pinocchio's a Trojan horse
Yeah, that's the name of it. Yeah, Trojan
with a massive lie-based battering ram on the front.
and a whale inside him.
I'll tell you what,
A
I
nice
want
big
that.
reversal.
I want that as a Dungeons and Dragons character now. Just,
A big
You're a-
wooden
you're attack-
horse battering ram.
you polymorph into a horse and then just sort of battering ram the. who
We just
you're up
wheel
against.
you in to the city. So good at voices. Well, I've got to push you for a lie now, Max. You've had enough time to think.
Okay.
You also don't have to answer if you don't want to.
A good lie that I have done. Oh, I can only think of the lies my dad did at university. He convinced someone in the geography lecture that milk travels in an underground milk pipeline, and they wrote it in their essay.
That's brilliant.
That is amazing.
It's really good. It's a really good one.
Underground milk pipeline.
Yeah.
That's
and-
my krautrock band, by the way.
Yeah, that's. I almost can't beat that with anything.
That is so good. But again, that's that sort of lying for fun sort of thing, like, you know, as a sort of joke.
It's see how far you go to get people to believe you.
Oh, I've got one.
Here we go.
Oh, this is quite bad actually.
This is like Unforgivable again.
Yeah,
I've just got into that recently, and oh my god, that is fun.
It was a mad show. This is not good. You know that thing where you put like your finger in your cheek and you make the pop noise?
Yes.
I haven't done it in years. Oh, that went quite
Hey!
well. For a first attempt, that went quite well. You know, as a kid, when you first perfect snapping your fingers or doing something like that, you're like, wow, I've got a real skill here. And you sort of... I did that. We were on holiday, and I did that once at breakfast. And my mum was facing the other way. And I did that. I went... And she turned around and went, what was that? And I said, with no reason to do so, I said, my ear.
Oh. Oh no.
Was this an instant hospital job?
Not instant, but there was a subsequent GP trip. And you know, all the neighbours were told this anecdote about how she couldn't believe she actually heard my ear pop. Like, it was an audible pop.
And by this point, obviously, the lie's broken containment. It's gotten out of control. There's
Yeah.
no way for you to stop it. It's a relentless march.
Yeah. Do you know, as I veer towards the end of this anecdote, I really do become uncertain as to the conclusion of this, as to whether I have told her.
Oh! It's sort of mad that this could be genuinely a pod exclusive.
Well, that
Max mum, just stop listening about 5
what
minutes
a
ago.
what a lovely moment to experience together. Do you know, if only when I'd said my ear, if only there was an indicator like my nose growing or something, just linking back to
Max, stop being so professional. I can't bear it. Oh, God, that is great. The things you do when you're a kid, like, because it's weird how naturally lying comes to children.
yes.
Yeah, it is. Well, even down to, did you do, no? Where's your homework? Oh, I've done it.
Do you think what's
There's
that
not
all
even a
about?
second breath. It's probably the fear of being told off. I know
Yes,
that was
the
it for
fear of
me.
punishment is greater than the guilt of lying.
Yep. Yep.
God, you are churning out some inspirational quotes in this episode. This is like fire these out on a mountainous background in a nice font.
Yeah,
Instagram
this is not typical for the podcast.
Put some calming music in the background. Slow down the
Yes.
speech. Yeah.
Yes.
Normally we're just throwing cornflakes at each other, and it's a weird little pod. We can't do it when we're on the Zoom.
Cornflake chucking episode.
Cornflake pod.
Could cornflakes be snowballs?
Ooh, it'd be Frosties, probably.
That's
Hey.
good. That's a lovely bit of business.
Oh, he's awake now. He's ready to start the podcast 45 minutes in. Speaking of starting things, Max, what's the goal? Like, what's your ambition to take what you do into the future? Because obviously, as I said in my, at this point, award-winning introduction, you've already achieved so much, and working as a professional performer from 18 is certainly nothing to sniff at. And congratulations to you. That's a hell of a thing. But where's the end goal?
I suppose the goal really for me always has been to follow in the footsteps of the ventriloquists that have gone before me and make it really difficult for ventriloquists in future to come across as cool.
Yes, huge.
There we go. So Max is going to aim for the world's biggest ventriloquist dummy.
There was an episode of
talk or something.
There was an episode of Jonathan Creek, if you remember that show, where there's some kind of Spinal Tap related disaster where Jonathan Creek becomes in possession of like a 4-meter tall ventriloquist dummy
That does ring a bell.
that he like stores on the arms of the windmill that he lives in. And there's a humorous jump scare moment where the ventriloquist doll's face passes by the window during a storm. And genuinely, that scared the shit out of me as a child. Is there an upper limit? Oh, God! For the people at home, Max is doing a really, really good, making really good use of that horrible mannequin head from before. Let's go going past the. Oh God, we're gonna have to clip that, but I don't want to. I think we might lose followers.
Is there an actual name for that style of doll? Like not just ventriloquist, but sort of like the way that one was made and.
I'd just call it a ventriloquist dummy. There's not necessarily a name for them other than the maker. So like you're getting really nerdy now. I'd probably refer to this as a Brighton because it was made by Herbert Brighton. I'd refer to this one over here as a Rogers. They all have their different makers that are renowned for a certain style, and the style itself, the British ones were often made with the lower lips are leather to give that.
I was going to ask that actually, yeah,
because it's not a slot like the ones you might see in horror films. It's leather, so it's a more natural mouth movement, and they've been made like that since the Victorian times. And the really cool thing is they're sort of paper mache, newspaper. They're literally made of newspaper, a lot of them.
Wow.
And the really cool thing is sometimes you can get either in the back of the head or trying to torch in the mouth, and sometimes you can date them literally by seeing a date on the newspaper inside the head.
Wow, that's
cool.
Awesome.
Which is pretty cool.
It genuinely is. It sort of blow my mind a little bit. I'm sort of stunned into silence. If you have any of your dummies in the room where you sleep, do you sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and like jump because you weren't expecting it? Like if you had in a nightmare or something.
Fortunately, I'm also fine with them. Fortunately, I'm all right with them. I did this. Obviously, this one only arrived the other day, and that one was just sort of sat on the side last night, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit full on." But yeah, I'm fine with them. The worst thing that's happened is I had some wardrobes fitted, and I forgot to cover this shelving unit. which has quite a lot of these old creepy dummies on. And I was downstairs as I got to just listen to the reaction of the... And they were like proper lads that had turned up to fit this wardrobe, right? And so I didn't know how to speak to them anyway, because I'm answering the door going, oh, hello, yes, good, the cup of tea and the footy, trying to talk to anyone who isn't a ventriloquist. It's why I talk to myself, it's because I'm useless when it comes to anyone else. Never mind people who have useful skills. So they came up to start putting this wardrobe in, and I got to listen to the reaction as they... essentially shat themselves in unison.
Amazing. Oh, I've
got to ask about the aftermath.
Like, yeah, I was going to say.
Well, it's when I really wish I had one of them on a remote control.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, proper Annabelle shit. That. Oh.
That'd be halfway through an act as well. You could just get one to sit up from the box as you're on the other side of the stage. Just shit up the whole crowd.
No, I wouldn't use it for work. Only for tradesmen.
I mean, that's nice, isn't it? 'Cause it sort of shifts the power dynamic. You know, now you don't feel as useless, and they're now on the back foot.
Leave one in my car when I take it to the garage, that sort of thing. So it turns around when they're looking.
I'm now looking forward to Pinocchio hitting like the 100-year mark, so someone's making a shitty horror out of that.
Oh, that'll happen, won't it? Or Disney will do a live-action remake.
Oh, they already did, didn't they? With Tom.
Did they do a Pinocchio?
Tom Hanks, yeah.
Yeah,
It
was released around a similar time that Guillermo del Toro did a stop-motion one.
Oh, that one was good.
There were like two Pinocchios coming out in like the same year, back to back.
Wow, the Pinocchio bumper year.
Everyone loves Pinocchio, but you're quite right, Sean. I mean, so that one came out. When did Pinocchio come out? It would have been sort of around the 40s, I would imagine.
I think it was the one before Cinderella, because it didn't do well, and so they therefore went with another princess film to try and bring it back up. But then Cinderella also flopped, which then started the downfall of I think it was the golden age of Disney.
Sick. But around early 40s.
Sorry, so I don't know why that. I know that fact. Yeah.
So when we get to around the 2040s, we can expect Winnie the Pooh style Pinocchio horror movie. Although, again, like we were discussing earlier, the story's pretty fucked as is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that donkey scene now. It is
messed up. I have no recollection whatsoever of this donkey scene.
I think a lot of people sort of forget what happens after the bit where the fairy comes in.
Well, it's that whole bit afterwards, isn't he? Because he gets kidnapped. He then gets taken to the island where all the kids are having such a good time, and then that's what it is. It's they're overindulging, and that's when they turn into. I think it's that because then if they overindulge, they turn into jackasses.
If you smoke and drink, you'll make an ass of yourself.
There we go. And
I thought that was assuming that did that.
Oh, well, you shouldn't assume either, because then you make an asu out of me.
It no longer sounds like a film about just a boy not telling lies. It sounds like so much more than that. It sounds like they're trying to cram all the morals into this thing.
It is very much a morality play. I mean, for God's sake, you've got a cricket pretending to be a conscience.
This is true.
I mean, that actually, I think, is actually a bit underhanded from old Jiminy. Like, that's quite a title to give yourself.
Oh yeah, who bestowed that upon him?
That was the Blue Fairy, I think.
Who's she to be the arbiter of who gets to be a conscience? I'll tell you what, if a Blue Fairy came up to me and went, "You see that bug out there? That's your conscience, that is." I'd go, no, it's not.
That's some gaslighting. That's your conscience, and then she stamps on it.
Oh, my conscience!
Now do as I say.
Bug down there. That's what I think of you. That is. I thought you were meant to be nice.
What? Just because I'm a fairy, I'm supposed to be nice? Racist. Very, very, very presumptuous, and you shouldn't presume anyway. Otherwise, you make a presu out of me. So when we Sorry. Let's get to the short and curly, shall we? If Pinocchio says I'm lying, but his nose doesn't grow, is he telling the truth?
I think Sean nailed it at the start, and therefore superfluous conversation ensued. I think, I'm so was it Mariana who put this in? Was that
Marina Martino?
Marina, I'm so sorry that we couldn't get an answer to you sooner. I think the fact that he was being open about the fact he's lying is very honest and open. I think the fact that he's, as Sean said, he's stating that he is lying. He's being honest about lying.
He's not lying, which is why his nose doesn't grow. There we go. We've solved the mystery.
And it was quite interesting. Was it Mariana? You said
Marina.
I wanted to because yes, it's Marina talking about a marionette.
Oh wow,
Marionette Mutino.
Hold on, do you think Pinocchio's written in under a pseudonym?
Oh, that little bastard. He had two films out last year. He doesn't need more attention.
I'm a real boy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, good for you, kiddo. I've got to say, this is probably the second quickest we've had an answer to the question. Because, like, Sean, you nailed that quite early. I should say, Max, we had the marine biologist Tom the Blowfish Herd on.
That's so cool.
And I think he's going to have the land speed record because he answered our question within 2 seconds.
But I think that is because you did ask a marine biologist a question that did have a definitive real world answer.
I just expected him to play in the space a bit more. You know what I mean? That's all. I was like, let's have a bit of levity. And he's like, no, the turtle's dead. Move on. Okay, all right.
Was the answer the turtle's dead?
Yeah, because I asked it. Right, I don't want to relitigate this, but okay, I'll ask you, Max, because I think you'll be willing to play in the space. If a turtle loses its shell, is it homeless or naked?
No, the turtle's dead.
Fuck you, Max.
Sorry, I don't know what came over me then. So I was just...
Everyone comes on this podcast and tries to undermine the premise. Speaking of undermining the premise, Max, it has been an absolute joy to have you.
Thank you for having me. This has been a delight and a lovely laugh.
I cannot believe that it's only been just shy of an hour.
Bloody hell, it is,
for ages.
I thought we were. I literally just. I forgot to. I looked at it, and it was about 20 past, and then I've completely forgotten, and I've gone 5-2, and I've literally thought about 5 minutes has passed. That was an absolute joy. So thank you.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Max, please, for the love of God, plug your stuff.
Oh, plug my stuff. If you go to at Max Fulham on Instagram or at Max Fulham Comedy on TikTok, and I suppose the most important thing is I'm doing my Fringe debut this year. So
amazing.
Come along to that. And if you're not in Edinburgh, come to one of the work in progress previews that I've got coming up around the country in the next few months. Check out my socials and find out. Yes, please.
Oh God.
I found his voice and probably peaked the audio. Good luck.
That's good. I heard it, so it wasn't noise gated by Zoom, so that's good.
Perfect.
Edinburgh Fringe, wow. And so is that like an hour show that you're doing, or like?
It's an hour's show. Yes, it's an hour's show. Grandad will be there, but he is going to be alongside some of the strangest and most ridiculous things I've ever created.
Huge. That is so exciting.
That's so cool.
Wow, I was going to call it a one-man show, but I mean, it's sort of not, is it? You've always got backups.
Yeah, that's it's almost like we could have literally asked that as the question today: is a ventriloquist show a one-man show? And we would have taken just as long to answer it.
Unfortunately, I wasn't asked that question. If I had, I would have brought it in.
We'll have you on again to ask that question. I'd love that.
If you're willing to come back to this.
Yeah, that's true. He's hovering over the leave button already.
My answer is the turtle's dead.
Oh, thanks, mate. I can't not do this, and I think you know what's about to happen. And it's sort of got to happen, and I'm sorry about it, but would you be able to give us a little bit of ventriloquism before you go?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry Grandad isn't around, but I'll use this terrifying little thing here.
I'm so glad he's using the terrifying one.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
glad I'm using the terrifying little thing. What would you like me to say? Something difficult? Difficult? Yeah. Pinocchio? It's quite difficult. Peter Pan picked a peck of pickled peppers? Something like that. Don't know. Yeah. Good. Nice.
Oh, that was so cool.
You realise why I had to do that, right? I mean, I know it's an audio medium, but we do.
Ventriloquism on a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. That's what
We've done it. They said
we go.
it couldn't be done, and it can't.
It's the new ventriloquism on the radio.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They didn't see that coming, did they? They couldn't have predicted that back in the olden days. So there's this thing called the internet, and there was this company called Apple. Do you remember them?
Oh, what, the one that did the albums for the Beatles.
That's it. That's a good pull. Good pull. Max, once again, thank you so much. You have Panto as well, don't you, this year?
Yes, that's just been announced as well. Southampton this year. I'm going to be Smee and Peter Pan, and Captain Hook is Alexandra Burke.
What? Hell yeah!
Oh,
Yes.
awesome.
And then the
Incredible.
magical merman is Dr. Range off the TV. Like, it is so cool.
That's crazy. Okay, right. Well, Edinburgh Fringe, Southampton Panto. Like you cannot get enough of Max Fulham.
You can.
No, I disagree.
Nope.
I disagree.
That's just, that is a quick answer on that one. Nope. Cannot. Could never.
Well, I think you can, and I'm sorry about that.
Very fun.
To fill up our question folder for people when we get more guests in, you can send your questions to shutuppod@yahoo.com. That's SHUTUPPOD@yahoo.com. Because quite frankly, I'm booking as many esoteric guests as I can, and I'm not always going to have like specific questions available. So the madder the better. That's what I'm going to say. Max, do you want to email something in?
Yes, I will be. I will be email something in.
Sick. That's shutuppod@yahoo.com. Max, once again, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening, and thank you for having me.
And speaking of Pinocchio, no, we're done.
Thank you for listening to Shut Up and Answer the Question. I am Sean Antony, at Sean Antony VO everywhere, and my co-host is Ethan Lawrence, Ethan D. Lawrence everywhere. If you want to follow the pod, on Instagram we are on Shut Up and Answer Pod, and on TikTok we are Shut Up Pod. If you've got a question that you'd like us to answer, send it to shutuppod@yahoo.com. That is SHUTUPPOD@yahoo.com. The music was by Eyes on Legs, and the artwork was by Kitsune Kei. Thank you very much, Podbean, for hosting our podcast, and we will see you next time.